We are live. Okay. Hello, everyone. Jedi Bender here, back again with a spoiler review. I have not done a spoiler review ever, so this is my first time. We're going to be talking about Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a second time, because by the time you see this, my review of it will have been out, and I hope you guys really did enjoy it. And the reason why I'm doing a spoiler review of this movie is because of the person that is joining me. He is from a YouTube channel that does editing and graphics design, and that YouTube channel is ToonGrin. Well, please welcome Angelo. Welcome, Angelo. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, sir. I'm appreciative that you were allowed to have me on here. I really appreciate that.
No, absolutely. Thank you. It was actually Angelo's idea to cross over with me, and I didn't think about that. So I'm actually happy that you suggested this.
I mean, it's Ninja Turtles and Batman. I grew up with both.
Absolutely. So did I. I'm more of a Batman fan and a Ninja Turtles fan second, but I still love both. Both are awesome.
Ninja Turtles is a great toy pitch, which is exactly what it was when it was created anyways. So
exactly, yes. Like, I agree with you dead on. Like, it was just made to sell, which is ironic too, because it started off as a comic book series and then it became a toy series. So I feel like it works as both. It can work as a comic, a toy, and a cartoon show, a video game. Ninja Turtles is just a weird franchise.
It can work as everything but a live-action movie with CGI.
That's true. It can.
It got two, and the first one sucked, and the second one was great, but everybody hated it.
Exactly.
So
it's weird. It is. It's very weird. And we're obviously no strangers to Batman. I mean, this is Batman's 80th fucking anniversary. The character has been around for that long, and he has just been in every fucking thing. So yeah.
Batman's been everything for everybody. He's been an icon for children. He's been a gate-kept character by adults who refuse to think kids have the privilege. Kids shouldn't have the privilege to enjoy a grown man who dresses as a furry and punches a clown in the face.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. So this seems like the perfect time to put these two together. So I want to go ahead and do something a little different. I didn't get to do this in my review, but I definitely want to talk about, like, the comic, the first comic. We're not going to talk about the second one or the third one, because I think that's what this movie is going to get. Like, what's the difference between this and that? So overall, just what did you think when you first heard that, oh my God, Batman and the Ninja Turtles are going to be in a comic book together?
It sounded terrible. It sounded creatively bankrupt.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like, my big criticism of DC, and there's lots, but one of my big criticisms of DC is they love Batman. More specifically, they love the fact that Batman prints money, so much so that a person working at DC Animation flat out told me at one point, and I was talking with them, and I just asked, okay, bro to bro, how come you guys don't make movies about anybody else? You guys own, think about this, okay? The only reason why DC and Marvel exist is to have properties that are then licensed. That's it. They're basically a glorified license holder. Like, if you really think about it, because the Avengers, when you look at their movies, dude, all those heroes suck. And I'm not being a dick about it. No. Iron Man was not an A-list character. Captain America was not an A-list character. Ant-Man, sure as hell, not an A-list character. Let's all be honest.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Even the whole thing with Captain Marvel, isn't this great? Yeah, there's been 8 people called Captain Marvel. Hell, one of them is from Fawcett Comics, for God's sake.
Exactly.
And he didn't even get named in his own movie.
Exactly. I completely agree with you.
So, I'd ask, why always Batman? Why not Superman? Why not any of these other characters? And they're like, Superman. And, the fact is, Batman's safe.
That's a good. Yeah, I would imagine that is the response they go with. Batman is safe.
He's a no character.
Exactly, yes. He's a relatable character. You can actually have stakes with anything Batman in it. You can't have stakes with Superman in it. I mean, you can, but it has to be sci-fi. It's not ground level
Well,
stakes.
it's funny because so many people I hear where it's like Batman's realistic, and then you just look at his rogues gallery and you're like, Mad Hatter, Penguin, Killer Moth, Killer Croc, Clayface, Mister Batman is one of the most unrealistic. He fights guys in refrigerator suits, clowns, luchadors.
Exactly. I agree with you.
We're like Batman is safe because Batman always makes money. Even bad Batman movies make
Oh,
money.
yes. Yes. And Batman and Robin is the biggest example of that.
Like it made money. It didn't make
Yes.
all the money, but it made the money.
Exactly. I agree. It's like, yeah. And when I first heard about this, I'm like, is somebody pranking me? Because this is a childhood's dream to see these two come together. And when I heard about it and I read the comic, I was shocked on how good it was. It had no right to be as good as it was, in my opinion, but it was. It was great.
It's kind of scary and surprising and sad all at the same time that it happened because Marvel and DC can't stop measuring their dicks for 5 seconds to get along
No.
because, dude, there are so many comics. Batman and Spider-Man, Superman and Spider-Man, a lot of Spider-Man, Batman and Captain America. And you could see like awesome reviews about these on Comic Pop. They go through them and they're awesome stories. It would be so great to see like a Batman Spider-Man team up.
It would. It really would.
It really would. It would be amazing, but they'll never do it.
No, sadly not. Not in
They-
this day and age.
Oh no, because there's just too much. There's too much. My company's better than yours, even though you could just check by sales alone. Where it's like right now, the Batman books are doing so bad that the Immortal
Oh, yeah.
Hulk books are outselling Batman. Hulk of all the characters at Marvel to outsell Batman, Hulk. And I like the Hulk, and I'm like, really? Hulk is outselling Batman? This is a weird world we're living in right now.
It is. It very much is. I am weirded out by that.
We've seen a few books they have over at DC now because, like, they licensed the Hanna-Barbera line for a stint.
Yes.
And then they got rid of it, which sucks because some of those books were kind of cool.
Oh, they were. They really were.
They had a He-Man run going over there for a little while. I think they had Thundercats for a little bit.
Yeah, they did.
And then it's like, what do we do? Batman meets the Ninja Turtles. And at first you think about it, and it sounds kind of stupid, but then you really think about it, and you're like, well, it kind of makes sense. I mean, I think the comic goes about it in a more Silver Age method of storytelling compared to the film, because the comic has it where it's like, the turtles are from another dimension. And it's like, oh man, you got to streamline that crap. Like, we don't have to explain, like, portal hopping and Dimension X.
Exactly.
And Krang, and it's like, how do we just make this simple?
I know, yes. And that leads into the film, because that is something we should definitely talk about. So overall, what did you think of the film?
I think honestly, it's one of the best freaking animated movies they've had since they've done Flashpoint, because I feel like Flashpoint ruined everything.
I agree with that statement. Yes, I've been a fan of the DC animated films ever since I was 7 or 8 years old, and it sucks that Flashpoint had to come out because it definitely ruined everything, and it put us in this new age of where DC animated films have to be somewhat mediocre and not as good in quality as they once were. And then this film comes along, and all of a sudden, it feels like it was made during that time where DC's animated films were just gold after gold.
I feel like Flashpoint was the start of, like, okay, so in comics, everything is set up in ages: Bronze Age, Silver Age, Golden Age, stuff like that. I feel like when Flashpoint hit, that started this, like, the cynicism age. Like, things just got sad and miserable, not just in the comics, which were sad and miserable, but like in the films. Because then once those films hit, they constantly kept trying to make Damien a thing.
Oh
Like,
God, yes.
Damien's appearing in storylines he didn't exist in because they did the Judas contract, and it's like, so that was when Dick Grayson was like Nightwing and on the Titans. Yeah, in the movie we made it Damien. Well, Damien didn't exist when that story came out. Yeah, but you have to like Damien because that's the Robin in comics. But guess what? Big, widespread audiences, they only know Dick Grayson existed, and that was it. I guarantee you,
Yeah.
no casual audience member. I would bet dollars to donuts if I went to a casual person on the street and asked them about Batman. It's like, hey, you remember Batman? Yeah, a guy dresses like a bat fights the Joker. Yeah, what was his sidekick? Robin. Yeah, who was Robin? Oh, it was Dick Grayson. Was it?
I agree with you. Yeah, no, I feel like
More? Yes, you had lots more.
yes, exactly. No, I feel like there's a lot. There's too much Damien, and we'll definitely get to Damien because he's in this film, which I have some thoughts on him. But I like this film. I don't know if I've made it. Yeah, I don't know how much I can make it clear. This is the best goddamn DC animated film ever. Like this is the best animated film of the year. The other two, Batman, Hush, and Wonder Woman, I don't think they can beat this because
I
this.
already have checked out on Wonder Woman on the grounds of I think Rosario Dawson is terrible as Wonder Woman. And it's not even because she's a bad actor. She's a great performer. I think she's a terrible Wonder Woman. She just sounds boring.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Same thing with Jason O'Mara as Batman. Like Jason O'Mara as Batman in all the other animated films, he either sounds like he has no direction, he's bored, or he's barking through his dialogue. Meanwhile, in this one, they were like, let's bring back Troy, who did like our really kiddie animated Batman films, like he did the Batman Unlimited era. And it's even weirder because they were like, hey, we have Troy. How about he's Joker too? And it's like, oh, that's going to be fantastic when those characters are interacting with each other.
Yes, definitely. Okay, now that you've already talked about it, yes, let's talk about that because, in my opinion, I think it was a safe choice and a smart choice to have Troy Baker come back as Batman because, in my opinion, I think next to Kevin Conroy and Bruce Greenwood, he's the third best Batman.
Oh man, come on, Diedrich Bader.
Oh yeah, Diedrich Bader holds a special place in my heart.
You would hit a woman, would you? The hammers of justice are unisex. You're like, Batman, lay that ugly man lady out. It's not sexist, guys. It's justice.
Which is weird because when I was watching this film, even though I love Troy, his Batman has gotten better and better and better to the point where people think he sounds identical to Kevin Conroy. The way this Batman was written, it almost did feel like it was Brave and the Bold Batman.
Yeah, I miss that. I miss that era so much.
Me too. Me too. That's why I was kind of surprised that they didn't get Diedrich to play Batman because I really think he would have made this material just as good as Troy did.
I think it's because with this Batman, and this is something really weird I noticed while watching this movie's tone is very, very strange because it's campy and quirky like Brave and the Bold, but like in like the first 5 to 10 minutes, there's a part where Batman's interrogating a foot ninja, and then a shuriken goes into the foot ninja's head, and you see blood pour out of his head, and he's dead, and you're like, oh my god, what? And then it just pans up to Sensei Shredder in the window, and you're like, who is this made for?
I know, yes. That is a good point. The tone, I don't really think this is a nitpick or a bad thing, but the tone was definitely back and forth. Like, it's trying to be dark and serious, like something Batman animated series related, but it's also trying to be goofy and somewhat immature, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it ends up having two different tones in the same movie. And normally that wouldn't work, but for this one, it does. I can't believe how well it works.
Well, I think part of it is because they also indulge in the fact that, like, Batman is such a ridiculous concept.
Yes.
But, like,
yes, he is.
So many people want to be like, he's such a dark hero we can all relate to. So your parents get shot when you're a kid, and your first idea is, that's it, I'm going to go train, dressed as a flying mammal, and I'm going to fight clowns. Yeah, don't go to therapy or any sensible solution. Dress as a bat. Swear by candlelight that you'll fight vengeance and be like a spirit in the okay.
I completely agree. It is weird, yes.
This Batman design, too, he has my I'm such a stickler for Batman's character design. I get really annoyed when it's like when the New 52 hit. They were like, get
Yes.
rid of the trunks. Get rid of the trunks on Batman. Get rid of the trunks on Superman. Batman wears all gray and black. Oh, I like Batman wearing gray and blue. And someone got to me too. Where they were like, why do you like gray and blue? It looks so goofy. He's called Batman. Yeah, but Batman's not goofy. His name is Batman.
That's a great point. I mentioned this in my collaboration with my friend Duo Dreamer. He personally didn't like the gray and blue, and I'm like, no, this is perfect because, in my opinion, the gray and blue is such an iconic costume, and you would know that if you all read the 1970s Batman. It made the gray and blue suit look badass,
And
and
then if you look at all the toys that were coming out, like in the 80s
yes.
and 90s, it was always like stock art of Batman in the gray and blue.
Yes, I feel like the gray and blue is the most iconic Batman costume of all time. And I've missed that. That's something I've definitely missed because everybody says, oh no, he has to wear black. He can't wear gray with blue. That would look ridiculous and goofy. I'm like, would it though? I'm like, it would look great. And I'm so happy they brought it back here. But I also really love how they still had the classic Batman animated series trick where he's in all black and he's just a shadow with white eyes, and the only thing is you see is his bat symbol. I love that. It just looks great.
It's funny that people like the gray and blue look like that looks goofy. You know what looks really goofy? A grown man dressed in a bat costume fighting a clown.
Exactly. Yes. I agree. I loved the character design for Batman. I think this is one of my favorite character designs for him since Brave and the Bold because I loved it.
I'm so thankful this isn't Phil Barusa. I'm so sick of his art in the worst way. Like I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a really cool dude in real life. I've only talked to him once in passing, and he kind of sniped at me a little bit because I kind of gave him a hard time.
Yeah.
I was talking to him about his Wonder Woman design, and I asked, why does Wonder Woman, since like the New 52, look like she's like a roller brawler? Because she's got like arm warmers on for some reason. And I'm just like, why does she look like that? And he goes, because I wanted her to look like that. And I'm like, oh. I just think it's a terrible Wonder Woman design. Like, that's it. That's a terrible Wonder Woman design.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Well, speaking
so many toys out of this movie.
I know, right? Well, speaking of designs, what did you think of the designs of the turtles? Because that's something I don't think many people are talking about. Because not many people go that much into detail with the turtles. They just accept the turtles as they are and never really talk about their designs. So, what did you think of the designs of the turtles?
Being a person who grew up with the 80s Turtles, I was there for the 80s. I was there for the 2000 Turtles. I was there for the 2012 Turtles. I was there for the beautiful live-action films. I was there for the terrible live-action Michael Bay film. I was there for the one I love, the second live-action Michael Bay film, which I just adore because it's just like the 80s cartoon brought to life. I think it's great. I think it's great because the Turtles looked different from each other. And this is a thing I love about like the 2012 show, where each of the designs, like in 2003, they all had different colors, but it was the same character model. 2012, everybody had a different body build. Everybody had different like accoutrements to their shell designs. Mikey had like freckles. He was the second smallest out of Raph because Raph was the biggest one because he was the shortest, but he was like the stoutest and thickest, like Wolverine.
Yeah.
And like with that one, they kind of carried it over where it's like, Donnie will be the very tall and leanest one. Leo always has like the default kind of turtle look, the very standard one. Raph is this big brick of a turtle, which of course he is because, you know, Raph's the brawler. And Mikey's childish and wonderment, so he's got bigger eyes.
I love that. I really do. I feel like they could have just ignored it and given them a default design altogether, but no, they actually went the extra mile in making sure that these turtles not only sound different, but they look different from each other. And I also love that they brought the classic 80s insignias on their belts. Like with Donatello, he has a D. With Michelangelo, he has an M. And with Raph and Leo, they have different shapes with different colors that can almost form an L or an R. I love that. That's genius.
There's a wonderful little attention to detail I love where when they meet Alfred. Alfred pronounces Michelangelo's name correctly as Michelangelo from like the actual Renaissance, and I'm like, oh, because he's actually like, you know, well trained, because he's a butler.
I agree. Yeah.
So of course he pronounces it like that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so our final thoughts on the designs and just, I guess, the voices overall, because again, Troy Baker killed it. The team behind the Turtles, they killed it. They had distinguishable voices. They didn't sound like clowns. They actually had chemistry together, and I could believe that these are brothers. And
Can we all thank God they didn't use the cast from the current Ninja Turtle cartoon?
I am so thankful they didn't use that cast because that's what everybody's just been saying. It's like, oh, it's an African American cast as the Turtles. Oh, and only one white guy playing him. I'm like, really?
Who cares? They're turtles.
Exactly. Yes. Who gives a shit?
That's like, oh man, can you believe that? Like Phil Lamar voiced Samurai Jack. A black man played a Japanese samurai who wasn't really much of a samurai, anyways, because he didn't like follow a lord or anything.
Exactly. Yes, I completely agree with you. Overall, I think the voice cast as a whole. I have seen every DC animated film, and I'm very, very picky when it comes to the voice acting. If anything is off or anything sounds wooden upon delivery, then I immediately have to dock points for it. But here, everybody.
The same people though, since like the New 52 Flashpoint era started, they've it's like they want this weird consistency, as if to say, all these films are in continuity with each other, and it's like nobody thinks that. Nobody watches the Death of and Reign of the Supermen, and in the back of their head they're like, this is totally canon to all those other. Like, did you ever see Suicide Squad: Hell to Pay?
Yes, I did actually.
I was actually blown away when it was like Reverse Flash. He's got like the hole in his head, and it's like, oh my god, this is canon to Flashpoint. Oh my god, this is the only time Reverse Flash is cool.
I know, yes, it was awesome.
It feels like it was more of a happy accident.
It was. I completely agree. And I love here that, no, this isn't trying to be canon. If anything, it's trying to just be its own thing. And that's what I love about it.
Thank God. I'd rather these DC movies just be like, isn't it cool if they're just like little stories you could just enjoy?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Trying to have continuity, you're making it so much hard. Like, if you try to put this in continuity, it's like, okay, so he's got Damien and he's got Babs. Where's Dick? Where's Tim? Where's Jason? What about like Sandra Kay? Where's Batwing? Yeah, do you see how quickly that like you pull that thread and everything starts? Why didn't Superman just show up and help like stop the magic weather machine? Because Rachel Gould's terrible Silver Age plan. That's it. I'll have the city tear itself apart. Hear me out, Raish. Cyanide gas.
Mm-hmm.
Gas to see everybody dies. No. We're going to mix mutagen and Joker toxin. People will become... We're basically going to make it like Animal House, which really should have been the name of the plan. The plan should have been called Project Animal House. Where
That's a good name.
Isn't it? And everyone will mutate into animals, and then like they'll tear each other apart. This is the most... No! Just spread cyanide gas in the city, for God's sakes!
It's weird. God. I was thinking that in the back of my head. But okay, so that's a perfect segue. What did you think of our two main villains? We'll get to the other villains later. I know people will probably ask us what did we think of the other villains, but we're going to talk about the main villains because...
I love the dick measuring.
Yes.
I love the fact that like Oroku Saki comes in there and he's like, let me tell you something. Bitch, I'm Ra's al Ghul. I'm like 700 years old. You better know your place in the pecking order, son. You get your ass kicked by turtles on a regular basis. Look, I at least fight one half of the world's finest. I fight the world's greatest detective. You get your ass kicked by 4 teenagers who down pizza.
Yes, I love that too. I love that they weren't trying to shoehorn Raish and Shredder as having these things in common and automatically getting along. No, I love that there was, like you said, dick measuring going on. Like
Raish, that scene has been Shredder, Rachel Gould, we're not so different. You and I, no, that's it. We couldn't be any more different. Okay.
Yes,
I want to be completely clear. We literally could not be any more different.
Yes, I agree. And I love the fact that they don't trust each other because, again, what I love about these villains, and even though this is a kind of the same thing you've seen with every cartoon Saturday morning villain, it works here. Both of these two have their own different agendas. Raish wants to be the classic mustache-touring bad guy who wants to destroy the world and make it filled with animals, despite the fact that he could have done it a better way instead of just having it spread to the clouds. And Shredder, yes, exactly, yes. And Shredder, he just wanted control of the Foot Clan and the Leaks while also becoming immortal. I'm like, yes.
I love, by the way, like the moment Raish is like taken down, he's like, now I, the Shredder, will rule the Foot and the League of Assassins. How? What? Like, how? How are you going to take over the League of Assassins? What are you going to like walk in there? So I'm in charge. You're not Rachel Gould. Oh, again, I didn't think this. I just assumed that like once he went down, like you guys would just literally go to the next person in line. Yeah, that's Mistress Karai.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would it be you?
Yeah.
Like, we go to like Talia or something. Like, what the hell? Like, why is he automatically assumed? That's it, and I'll take over. What? Why? Why would you take over?
I don't think he knows how the League of Shadows works. I think he just pretty much hit the nail on the head. He just automatically assumed it's going to be given to him. When I'm like, no, that's not how this works.
I am bummed by a very severe missed opportunity in this that did really upset me, but it's a nerd upset.
Ahead. No, so, yeah, go ahead.
So we have Ubu.
Right.
And Ubu is he's for lack of a better phrase, he's the bodyguard to Ra's al Ghul, even though Ra's doesn't really need a bodyguard, but he has one.
Yes.
I feel like there should have been a part where Sensei Shredder started getting up in Raish's face, and Ubu like tries to tell him like step back and like puts his hand on Shredder, and then you just see a big rhino hand and a big warthog hand, and they're like, you need to step back.
Oh my god, yes. That is one thing I too miss from where the hell were Bebop and Rocksteady?
It gets me too where it's like, I find it hard to believe that at any point during this, Shredder's like, I'm never gonna need any extra muscle. Really? You really feel like you wouldn't need Bebop and Rock, like, because I know Bebop and Rocksteady are idiots. That's why I love them. They're stupid, but they're like the Juggernaut. You bring them because they're just so powerful, and in the IDW comics especially, they've been written up to be virtually unstoppable to a point where in their origin they get into trouble when they pull up. They're trying to do something for Karai and they screw it up fantastically. And through their screw up, they end up taking down an entire skyscraper with their bare hands. And she openly says where it's like, we could try and have you killed, but you guys are very, very tough. So the way we see it is this. We're going to have you on the Foot. We're part of the Foot? No, you need to understand how this is going to work. You're idiots. We're not going to put you on important missions. But when we need, like, things done, where we need, like, a hammer, we will just release a Warthog and Rhino.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I agree, yes. I feel like which I was kind of disappointed, Nobu pretty much got, left out. Like, because if you guys have seen Batman the Animated Series, you've read any comics, Nobu is the toughest son of a bitch you will ever face. And in here, he kind of got shafted, and I was a little disappointed by that. And there
was so much going on, though. I mean,
there was, yes. I don't blame
the Arkham inmates. It's like, what, 7, maybe 8 different inmates come out?
Yes.
Unless Harvey counts as 2.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So what did you think of the Arkham scene? Like, all of the inmates fighting our heroes, and worst of all, they're now on TCRI.
I love it, but I'm kind of bummed by some of the mutations.
Yeah, exactly, because they did talk about how they stuck mostly to the comics, but for one like Poison Ivy, they went ahead and changed it. And I was like, okay, while it was funny,
But does it make more sense that she's a plant than a praying mantis?
In my opinion, no, because I feel like a praying mantis definitely suits her. But I understand, her name is Poison Ivy. She has to become a plant. But it's just weird. Like, okay, so it transformed the other inmates into animals, but with Ivy, she's a straight up plant.
Well, keep in mind, Ivy's mutated from the chemicals and toxins she uses anyways because she's a fluorokinetic. So
Right, right.
she's already basically a plant in like a feminine form. But it does seem weird. Well, one of the things too is like they're kind of hand wavy, by the way, how the ooze is supposed to work. Because my understanding of ooze in every other iteration is like you get exposed to the ooze, the next animal life form you come into contact with, that sample of DNA instantaneously bonds to you.
Yes, I agree.
And this followed the Bay movie, where it was like in the Bay film, they injected Bebop and Rocksteady, and for no reason, they turned into a rhino and a warthog, and then Baxter Stockman just hand waves explains, well, through our genetics, our animal ancestors. And it's great because the actor playing Shredder in that movie looks at him like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not opposed to how they went about the transformations with the inmates. I'm just saying like okay, like some of them were pretty good. Like my favorite one of all is Mr. Freeze as a polar bear. That's fucking perfect.
I'm just happy it's John DiMaggio again because he was
Oh
Mr.
yes,
Freeze
me too.
in the Bold.
Yes, yes, he was. I loved hearing him again. It was very awesome.
It's weird. He could have been Joker in this. Like he was right there.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I guess they were like, well, we're getting Troy Baker to play Batman. Why don't we just have him play the Joker? Okay, fine, that works.
If John DiMaggio be the Joker, we don't want to like
I know.
we don't want to give kids nightmares. There's so many weird, very ultra violent scenes in this movie where it's like
yes,
Rachel Gould decapitates people. There's a scene where Sensei Shredder impales a security guard through the back and holds up the man's entire body with one arm, and it's just like, do you know how strong he would have to be to hold up a fully grown man?
Yes, I know. I see. That's what I was worried about with this because I was worried that they were going to tone down the violence, which I would have been okay with. It's just like I feel like okay, if this would have been something like Batman: The Brave and the Bold, or crossing over with a specific version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I could understand that. But I love in this film, no, they don't do that at all. They completely show the violence. Like you said, Shredder throws a kunai at one of his he impales a security guard through the chest. Ra's al Ghul decapitates people. Raphael even knee shatters one of Penguin's goons in the face so hard it not only breaks his glasses, but it fractures his jaw, and you can see the blood coming out. So I love that. I really love how they were willing to be violent with this movie.
To quote Max G from Brain Dump, I just like seeing the parts where the red stuff comes out.
Me too. I definitely like that.
I grew up on cartoons that had teeth. I grew up on like Powerpuff Girls.
Me too. I like Samurai Jack was my first cartoon exposure to violence, if you can believe that. So the fact that this is now out, I'm just happy that they weren't willing to play it safe. They didn't want to play it safe. They're like, no, fucking have some violence in there. We want to show.
The Turtles are violent characters. Like if you go back to like
really
the Mirage, they killed the Shredder in like the first story.
Exactly. Yes. Which that's something else I think they don't really take from the '80s cartoon, but you really don't see the Turtles use their weapons more violently. But that doesn't mean that they're not open. Like Raph is still willing to be brutal as fuck to criminals. So I really like that they just went all out for this one.
Yeah, they cut actually a lot of characters out of this from the comics, if I remember, because like Master Splinter was in the comic.
Yeah, so was Casey Jones in April.
Bebop and Rocksteady were in the comic. Strangely enough, I don't remember if he was in the comic, but the movie has Baxter Stockman.
Yeah, they do. Which, oh my goodness, I love this Baxter Stockman.
This is my favorite one because like the '80s one is somehow, and I'm sure it wasn't the intention of the writers, but the '80s Baxter Stockman is actually very tragic as a character. And if you ever want to do a character video, we could definitely hash that out. But like,
Oh yes, absolutely.
'80s Baxter Stockman is so tragic because he was just a guy who was well intentioned. He went to the Foot Clan to get the funding he needed. He got mutated into a fly man, and then he started losing his humanity as he started to slip into the mindset of his animalistic component. So he started to become more like a fly. That's just so tragic. It's like Brundlefly or something. It's like so sad and depressing.
It is, yes. I completely agree with you. And
to 03, he's just a dick, and that's it. Like that back. No, it really is. Like 2003, Baxter is basically like, I'm smarter than everybody. Shredder like lops off an arm. I'm still smarter than you, dude. You lost an arm. Shut up. While you're ahead, like, cut your losses. And then 2012, he's just sort of a bumbling idiot. And this one is just like, he's a guy. He was just a dude who was kidnapped and turned into a fly, and he just wants to live. That's it.
Exactly. Yes, I love it. I really love how they did Baxter Stockman in this. Another thing I love too. Okay, this is one other thing that I really love, and that is the animation and the fight scenes.
I
Because
can't believe how
good.
solid this is actually. Because
Um,
is it just me, or do the directed DVD films like post Flashback? Do they feel like they're getting cheaper? Like they're getting later?
Yes, I've been saying that for years. Supposedly, each DC animated film has a budget of over $3 million, and every film that's come out after Flashpoint, you can see how limited they are. And I've always been a champion for them to put more money into this. Like, it feels like if it's not on Cartoon Network, they don't get the extra push, and I'm very upset by that. But here, they really went all out. There are still some moments where you can see, yeah, the animation is pretty much stilted and it's standing still, but for like 90% of this movie, it looks like an IDW comic.
Oh, it goes. Yeah, that's the thing. Like it uses like the anime method of animation, where it's like put the quality animation where it needs to count. Like the chase scene with the T-Rex. Oh yeah, there's a T-Rex in this. Like,
yes.
Which, by the way, man, did that foot soldier fucking score the mutation on the roulette wheel? Like,
yes, he did.
The first guy they tested out on, I'm a dog now. Wow, that kind of sucks. And then like out of nowhere, one foot soldier, I'm a dinosaur. Good for you, man.
Yes.
What? Yes. Way to go, Steve. You freaking
absolutely.
You made something of yourself.
Hell yeah, you did, Steve. Good on you, man.
I think part of the reason why the animation might be fluid too, dude, is because it's not Phil Bruce's art, which is way more detailed.
No, yeah, I agree with you on that. I definitely am happy that they didn't get any of the new 52 animated crew to work on this. No, they definitely got some people who would give us something that we've never seen before. And I swear to God, I think we both could do a thesis on how this animation looks and how all DC animated films should look like this, because there is not a single frame where I can tell, okay, they could have redrawn that, did that better, or that fight scene could have been more fluid. No, every frame and every fight scene in this is fucking phenomenal. I literally could not pick a favorite because all of them were fantastic, well choreographed, and just fun to watch on their own.
Any one of the silhouette shots is just beautiful. And they do it for everybody too. They do it for Robin. They do it for the turtles. I love it for the turtles because in silhouette, it's kind of hard to tell them apart until you see like the headbands and you're like, yep.
I agree, yes. Those are my favorite shots too, because I grew up on Batman the Animated Series, and I loved silhouettes. It just looked amazing. So I'm so happy they brought it back here. And they don't just do it for Batman, they do it for the Turtles. And every time they're in silhouette, it just looks like a comic book splash page. It looks amazing. I just want to live in this animation. That is how good it is.
I think the best silhouette shot for me is when when they distribute the TCRI ooze, and they do that image of the Joker's smile, and he's laughing, and then you just see the huge cobra fangs drop down, and you're like, well, that's just heinous.
That is, yes,
I
agree.
can't wait to see that reveal. It's like,
no, yes. Me too. I like that one too. My favorite silhouette shot is when they're all running, they're working together, they're all running on rooftops, and there's a shot where each one of them jump to the next rooftop and they're all in silhouette. It looks beautiful. I'm a sucker for group shots, and that was an amazing group shot silhouette. It just looked fantastic.
Do you think anybody got a crappy mutation?
Do I think anybody got a crappy mutation?
I get why Jonathan Crane gets the crow because he's the scarecrow, but even in the book, I was just like, Jonathan, you suck.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it does kind of feel like Jonathan Crane and Poison Ivy got the short end of the stick on this because, I mean, okay, Mr.
Two-headed cat.
Actually, yeah, that's true. Like even Harvey kind of didn't get
he was a monkey in the comic. He was like a mandrill and like a chimp, I think.
Yeah, so
he looked normal though in the comic because it just looked like a half-burned monkey. He didn't look like two completely different breeds of cat.
Exactly, yeah. I feel like they put more attention on Mr. Freeze, Bane, Joker, and Harley. Like, I really feel like they had the best transformations and they were the most creative, but the others really didn't get any time to shine. As I said,
they changed Bane from the comics.
Yeah, they did. Which again, yeah, a jaguar for Bane because get it, he's Mexican. Ha 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 ha. But I'm like, I don't know. I feel like maybe you could have kept his transformation from the comics. I really did like that transformation.
The huge, because he had those wicked giant tusks.
Yeah, I kind of like that. But then again, you could argue that the jaguar is more He has more maneuverability to him. So either way.
Dude, he's like 8 feet tall. It doesn't matter where you go in a room, he could reach you.
Exactly, yes. I will say my favorite transformation has to be the Joker because a Cobra, that is so perfect.
Of course, because now he can make his own Joker venom.
Yes, exactly. My girlfriend and I, when my girlfriend saw this with me, she actually thought that they were going to turn Joker into a hyena because she thought that made the most sense. And then as soon as she saw the Cobra, she's like, huh, that actually is a lot better. I'm like, yeah, that's what I said. So I like the Cobra transformation.
It's funny because the Cobra Snake thing is actually a weird carryover, if you can believe it. Because because in the original IDW comic, they mention he turns into the Cobra, but then after the comic came out in the Lego Batman movie, Alfred says, I know what you're afraid of, Master Wayne. And he goes, is it clowns? No. Snakes? No. It's family. No, it's clown snakes because you put that in my head. And the Joker becomes a clown snake.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that.
It's a weird thing where it's just like, man, they got like a lot of mileage out of the concept of like clown snake.
Exactly, yes. And again, I'm happy they brought it back here. Although there was one scene that kind of freaked me out and kind of grossed me out. It's where Hyena, Harley, and Cobra Joker are doing ton makeout. And
tone. This because like the turtles, hey, let's have some pizza. Oh boy, pizza, fun times. Damien, don't eat pizza. We have work to do. Batman's such a stickler in the mud. And then all of a sudden, Harley and Joker, and you're like, what is this? What is happening right now? I don't know how to feel anymore during this movie. Part of me,
I don't know either.
My funny bone is tickled. How does this tickle you? Not very well.
No, I'm the same way.
Although I found it beyond adorable when like Joker's depressed. And he's like, I go through all this and for what? He doesn't even pay any attention to me. Oh, don't worry, Puddin'. I love your skill. And they just rub their noses together, and you're like, that's so fucking cute.
It is. And then they ruin it by doing ton.
I guess in this universe, they're actually a healthy, happy couple, and he doesn't abuse her. That's wonderful.
Yes, and they did it right, unlike Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. It's just like Suicide. Like, this is my problem with like the Suicide Squad like live action film, where it's like she's tragic. Is she?
No, she's really not.
No, like most iterations of the character, she's not tragic. We could do a whole
No.
thesis just like a character related video on her because dude, she's one of my most hated DC properties of all time.
Oh, I understand you, man.
Even though in this movie it's just like, would it be wrong to have Hyena Harley as a pet? Just like chain her in the backyard and like occasionally like give her some steaks. That's it.
To me, it wouldn't.
I'm like, is that inhumane? Oh, I barely think of her as a person when she's just a human. So the hyena actually kind of makes it less offensive, I guess.
Exactly. Yes, I completely agree with you. Okay, so there is one other transformation that happens in this film, and holy shit, I did not expect them to go this route, but they did. Joker transforms Batman into a vampire bat.
It's not the first time. It's actually also a nod to the comics because
It
there
is
a vampire story. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, Blood Rain.
Is it Blood Rain? Because there's like three different stories where basically Batman goes fights Dracula. He becomes a vampire, and like it's vampire Batman, and he fights crime.
Yeah, that's it. It was Batman. It's the Blood Rain series.
Which, by the way, make that movie.
Thank you. Yes, I've been saying that too. Please go all out.
It's really weird that it's like Batman versus Dracula. What an awesome concept. Yeah, it was done once, and it was in the Batman of all the show that nobody liked for some reason, even though it's a wonderful show.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you, and I loved Vampire Batman here. I love that interpretation of the character, and
So
there's actually. Oh yes, and here's something else in terms of violence, and this is crazy. Because there's a scene where he attacks Mr. Freeze and he takes him down below the floor, and you hear Mr. Freeze screaming and you hear biting noises. And when he comes back up, he looks like he just committed. Well, there's no other way to say it. It almost feels like he killed Mr. Freeze.
Well, if they make a sequel, maybe he'll show back up. I really wish, like, if he died, his death cry would have been like, Nora! Like, the last thing the last hurrahs. Oh, my wife! I have a wife, Batman! Don't kill me! I'm actually sympathetic of all these pieces of crap you're fighting.
I know, yeah. So I was like, did he kill Mr. Freeze? I'm like, damn. Like, I hope nobody told him that because I'm pretty sure Batman would have a thing to say about that.
Maybe they told him after the slice. Like the moment at the end where he takes like a bite of the pepperoni pizza and he's like, this is good. By the way, you killed Mr. Freeze. What? And then it's cut the credits.
Yes, I would have loved that. That would have been an awesome alternate. I love it.
Bruce, we did the right thing. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, we brought in his body so we could stuff him in the trophies. What are you doing? Dory, still in polar bear form. That's horrible.
It is horrible.
And then we'll just get taxidermied polar bear Mr. Freeze with the goggles and the ice gun, and it's like, there it is, just sitting in the cave, right next to the penny.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I think we've saved the best for last, and that is the ending, like the whole last third act. What did you think of it?
Shit happens. Like, Batgirl's fighting Ubu. Damian hilariously is like, I have to fight the toughest guy in the room. And he looks at Baxter Stockman. Mutant, prepare yourself. Oh no. Baxter vomits and then passes out, and you're like, oh, that's just sad.
You're a terrible disappointment.
Damian, you're a colossal disappointment. I want you to know that. I love this version of Damian, by the way. He's grumpy, but he's not a dick.
No, he's actually tolerable. I'm like, where in the hell has this Damian been all of my life?
Did you ever read the Super Sons book?
I actually have, yes. They're amazing.
That's that Damian where it's like, he's like a grumpy house cat.
Yes, and I love it. I really feel like they need, like, the new 52 animated films need to stop having Damian just be a dick. Like, it's getting annoying.
It's like they don't understand where it's like, Damian only works if you have them juxtaposed with a opposite personality. Because like when Grant
I
Morrison
agree.
was writing during that era of comics,
Yes, it
Dick
was
Grayson
amazing.
was Batman, and when
Yes,
when Dick's Batman, he's like an optimistic Batman that's cheerful and he fights crime, but he's got like a devil may care daredevil attitude, and like Robin's like this sucks, it's the reverse of the Batman Robin dynamic. But then when you have like
exactly.
Batman's a miserable prick, wow, what's his Robin like? A miserable prick. Oh,
It is. It's a terrible. It's just terrible in my opinion. And
what's
then
the dynamic?
exactly, yes. And then you have Batman fighting the Shredder again. You have and then you have Dawn and Leonardo fighting freaking Ra's al Ghul.
No,
Oh my god.
and that lasts shortly because like, man, Race just destroys Donnie's arm.
Yes, he does. I was shocked when they did that. Like he broke
Even
his.
mentioned, even mentions like at one point where he's fighting them, he's like, "I'm 700 years old." And
Exactly. Yes.
you're like, yes, you're a very seasoned man. I love that too. Like he's boasting, "I'm 700 years old, Turtle. I have fought in wars. I have lasted the centuries. I am
Yes.
inevitable." Kick to the dick, goes down like a bitch.
Yes. And then he uses Master Splinter's pressure points on him. I'm like, perfect. Thank you. Like you. This is the best freaking Leonardo since the 2012 show. Thank you so much. Like this was awesome.
It's crazy. Like even though Master Splinter wasn't there, and that did
No,
disappoint me because one of my
me
favorite
too.
scenes in the comic is there's a scene in the comic where Leo is sparring with Batman, and Master Splinter's
Yes.
watching, and he goes, "You're getting a little sloppy," and Batman goes, "I think he's doing a good job." And Master Splinter looks at Batman, and he goes, "He wasn't the one I was critiquing."
That was perfect. I love that.
I love that where it's like, know your place, Batman.
Exactly. Well, at least Master Splinter was mentioned a couple of times in this, so it felt like he did have a good presence. I agree, though, he should have been in here, but hopefully he'll be in the sequel. Please be in the sequel. And oh my god, like the final fight with Batman and Shredder, I really loved it. Like, I love the first one, but I also love the second one. And it's here that we get to hear Batman say something I never thought we get to hear this character say. Cowabunga.
Well, it has to happen. That's one of the reasons why I hated the IDW comic because, like, issue 1, Raph finds a shirt that says "Cowabunga" and he goes, "Well, that's stupid, man. Don't be like that. That '80s cartoon is why you're famous."
Exactly, yes. I loved it. I really loved it. And I love how Shredder went out. Shredder's like pretty much boasting, saying, please, I'll take over the league and I'll do this and that. Piece of the cloud duster comes down and he flies into the Joker Venom chemicals.
It's literally like a Rube Goldberg machine of like, well, this is like a Home Alone skit.
It is.
It's like that game Mousetrap. Do you remember that from like the 90s?
I do. Yeah, I do.
Like, yeah, you drop the ball, you hit the man, he lands in the tub of chemicals, and then he comes back as Joker Shredder.
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Yes. And okay, I know we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but there was a big scene that I know fans of the comics wanted to see, and I was curious if we see it too, but we didn't. And that was the scene where Raphael leaves the Turtles. He's getting sick and tired of what's going on in the comics, and Batman goes to find him, and he takes him to where his parents were killed, and he pretty much gives him the what's what. Here, they didn't do that. They instead had Raph give Batman the what's what. Like, what did you think of that?
Oh,
Like,
anytime somebody freaking knocks Batman down a peg, I'm all in, 110%.
me too.
Most writers try to write it where it's like, Batman can't do anything. Well, no, that's the thing. He's just a guy, though. He can't do everything. Like, even Superman can't do everything. And he's Superman, and he can't do everything.
I agree. Yes, completely. I love that they did that. They definitely humanized Batman in this, and I thank God for that.
Anytime there's I always love pushing the thematic of family on either Batman or the Turtles. It's a thing. I got upset with the '80s Turtles because in the '80s it was just he's only really Master Splinter. Yeah, they call him like, he says like my sons and stuff, but like I never feel like he's their dad. And that's what Master
No.
Splinter is at the end of the day. He is the dad to Mikey, Raph, Leo, and Donnie. And
Yes.
you need to capture the fact that, like, yes, in the dojo, he's their teacher. But outside the dojo, he's their pop.
I agree. Yes, I mentioned that in my review. I loved how, at the end of the day, this movie is about family and trust, and that is a good thing to put in this because both of these two revolve around that. Batman has the Bat family, and the Turtles have themselves and Master Splinter. So I love that they did that here. It was just perfect.
Yeah, it is. I think it's elements that really work well together because the thing is, and this is a very annoying thing with like the comics a lot, is that they keep trying. The DC has this weird hang up where they're like, Batman's a loner. Batman has had more sidekicks than any other superhero I have ever encountered.
Yes, he does.
And
it's
like that's not counting like the X-Men because that's not really like Wolverine doesn't have sidekicks. He has teammates.
Yes.
Batman has had so many Robins, so many Batgirls, so many weird peripheral characters like Signal and Bluebird. And at one point, he had like a hunchback that made his tech for him. Like, Batman has had more help than any other superhero to ever exist. And they're like, you don't get it, man. Batman's a loner.
Yeah. I agree. No, yes, I love that here. Like Raph pretty much tells him, it's like when he says this isn't a family, and Raph just straight up says, "Ain't that the same thing?" I'm like, yes, perfect. That was awesome. I love that.
They have a wonderful scene very early on where Batgirl comes in and she says, you could have just called me in if you needed help. And he's like, yeah, I didn't feel it was necessary. But then he turns to her and he goes, but now I'd be happy if you could help me. And it's like, oh my gosh, he admits it.
Yes,
like,
I love it.
Admits that because because people think if Batman admits he needs help or that he's wrong, instantly the power fantasy is broken. Like it by making him a vulnerable person, it somehow ruins the character. When making him vulnerable is what makes him a person.
Yes, I agree. This is why I love Batman. This is what made me attached to Batman. And I'm so happy that the writer of this film got that. He knew that Batman is not a god. He is a freaking human being. And it takes 4 talking turtles to make him realize that what he has is not a team, it's a family. And I love that. I really do. I cannot praise this movie enough for that. And I gotta say, that ending where they're all eating pizza together and Batman gives a slice to Robin, that says so much. With no words and dialogue, it says so much right there.
My friend, when we saw that, he's just like, my dad loves me.
I know, yes.
In the comics, I don't like Damian in the comics. One, part of it is just the origin, which was like, Talia basically rapes Batman and then he has a kid and that's it.
Yes,
so, and it's really uncomfortable, and the comics didn't like to talk about it. So then they retconned it, where it was like it wasn't a rape. They had like a one-night stand, and it's like that's not what the origin was. You're just trying to change it because no one wants to be like, and don't forget Damian, the Robin that's a rape baby, because everyone would feel uncomfortable talking about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But every time he's with Damian, it's like he's always resentful of like, I got this little shit stain. It just won't go away no matter what I do. I have this kid I don't want. And it's just like, why did we even make Batman a dad?
Yes, agreed.
And the thing was, according to people who work at DC, they were like, because he needed a real son. Bite me. He has a real son. He had Jason, who was his real son. He had Jason, who was the son he improperly trained and got killed, and he felt bad about. Tim Drake was his son. How dare they assume, the only way Batman has a real child is if it's blood? That is insulting.
It is, yes.
Batman's dad is not Thomas Wayne. Batman's dad is Alfred Pennyworth.
Yes, I completely agree with you. Yes, everything you just said. Yes, I definitely
Even the Turtles are adopted. Because they weren't Hamato Yoshi's kids. Hamato Yoshi was the guy who got turned into a rat.
Yeah, agreed. It's like This movie, man. I think you all can tell by now. We fucking love this movie. This movie definitely put a smile on both of our faces. It did something we didn't expect it to do, and it ended up being one of the best damn surprise DC animated films of the year.
There's so many Easter eggs.
Yes, we didn't even talk about them. There are
They,
tons.
they had the god awful Bob Kane Batman costume in the
Yes.
Batcave.
Yes.
That retarded design where he was like, so he's gonna have a red leotard, a black bat glider attached to his back, and a domino mask. Bob, what the hell is this? This is my idea for Batman. This is terrible. And then Bill Finger came in. Yeah, here's the iconic Batman costume that's everyone gonna remember. Which of course Bob Kane came in and said, "I'm glad I thought of it." Writes name on, takes all credit.
Yes, exactly. I love that too. I love that there were tons of Easter eggs to Batman films, like the blimps, like from the iconic animated series. Like, what's the
what year is this? Because we have like iPhones, but like we have like
That's
1940 dirigibles floating around.
exactly, yes. I love that the penguin's design. You can totally see it's somewhat based off of the Tim Burton, and he's even got the colorful umbrella. Yes, and it's awesome. And then with the turtles, you have them say Bossa Nova, if you know where that's from. You have the turtle van firing manhole covers with pizza painted on them. That's so awesome.
In my headspace, the penguin's design of like, okay, so he's got the purple gloves and like a lot of the purple highlights. That's obviously Batman 66.
Yes.
But then he's got the multicolored umbrella, and his umbrella for some strange reason is red, yellow, blue. And when I was watching it with my friend, I'm like, it's very obvious that the Penguin is a Superman fan, and he only carries the Superman colored umbrella to piss off Batman.
I think so, yeah.
But I guess in this universe, I guess Batman likes Clark because he's got a Superman mug that he drinks coffee from.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely love that they did that, and it definitely expands this world. And oh my god! And even though I'm not all too keen on them being inconsistent with the Bat Family designs, because if you're going to give Batman his iconic costume, why not give Batgirl or Damian a different costume? But I understand, everybody loves those classic designs. So well, it didn't really bother me.
Except Damien's not classic. Damien's maybe what, 5, 8 years old as a character by now, maybe.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So I feel like, I don't know. But either way, there were just and okay, I'm surprised nobody caught this. But whenever you get to the post-credit scene with Joker Shredder, as soon as he comes up in the same way that the Jack Nicholson Joker came up from. And he even laughs and turns to the camera in a similar way to how Joker did in The Killing Joke. So I love that. It was so awesome.
I love the fact that in this, by the way, they played butt monkeys on both sides. So it's like, okay, so Baxter's a butt monkey, pure and simple. Like, he's a fly man, and he's just sort of pathetic. Freaking Penguin, who's one of my all-time favorite Batman villains, he's a total butt monkey.
Yes.
Like he's like, I'm gonna pull this heist, gets screwed over, goes and finally delivers the thing he has to Raish and Shredder. And like the Shredder, I think, kill all of his guys, and he just goes, I'm just gonna put this down as a resume filling experience, and I'll be on my way. And he just fucks off, and he's just like apathetic about everything that's transpired.
Agreed. Yes, I agree.
Oh, like, this sucks.
I know. Yes. Oh my god. Like, thank you. Like, okay, Warner Brothers and Nickelodeon. Thank you for coming together and allowing this to happen, because I never
you guys play nice.
Yes, it is.
That's the weirdest thing where it's like, how'd you guys play nice?
Yes, like, for those of you who don't know, Nickelodeon and Warner Brothers were the two biggest TV competitors back in the early 2000s. These guys were all over the place. In fact, Nickelodeon was pretty much Warner Brothers' bitch with early Cartoon Network. And to see them work together now, it's amazing.
Aren't like so many current, well, I guess they're ending now, but like there's been a lot of CN properties where it's like, Adventure Time, pitched Nickelodeon, hard pass. Wow, that must suck.
Yes.
That thing lasted for like 10 years. Regular show, Nickelodeon, hard pass. Oh, that must really suck. Also went to see it. I think Steven Universe might have also been pitched at Nickelodeon at some point.
Yes, exactly. Again, it's just like I never expected this to happen, and I'm so glad they were able to work it out. And now I want them to do this again. I want them to bring this crew back and make a freaking sequel. I want a sequel to this. Like now, please.
You think like Joker Shredder is gonna like Jokerize all the ninjas? What if all my ninjas were crazy? That's a terrible idea, is it?
I would like that. I would actually, here's my idea for the sequel. I think they should have the sequel take place in New York City, since this one took place primarily in Gotham. So that way we get to see Casey Jones, we get to see April O'Neil, we get to see Splinter, and we basically get to see Shredder team up with Bane. Like that would be kind of cool.
And you know who we can get as backup for the Turtles?
Who's that?
The Mighty Mutanimals.
Oh yes.
Mondo Gecko, Herman the Hermit Crab, Pigeon Pete, Slash. Hell, there's still tons of mutants they haven't touched actually, because like there's Aloplex, the Snow Fox, Armagon, the Shark.
Yes.
Krang.
Oh my god, that'd be even better. Like just have Crane in the, like that would be so cool to have Crane in one of these. Like please, like guys, make this happen. There's just no other way to say it. Make it happen.
I feel like this prints money.
It does.
So I don't like, which is again weird because of how violent this movie is. Where it's like, I don't know, like what kids are going to be able to watch this? Because there is.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: it's not like I'm not a parent. I mean, I'm an uncle, but I'm not a parent. And I believe kids could handle. I believe kids could also handle anything. Like I don't believe like if I show a kid this, they'll turn into like the next Ted Bundy. That's completely neurotic.
Yes,
that's not how that works.
No, yes, I feel like kids are solely underestimated on what they can and can't take. So I feel like if you showed this to them, they freaking love it. They some things would go over their head. The violence would probably scare them, but kids love getting scared. So I really think that this would be a great watch. The only thing I'm really disappointed about is that I wish that this was somehow on either on Cartoon Network or on Nickelodeon. I really feel like if you put this on, it would get great exposure because.
Well, does Nickelodeon? Okay, I got rid of my television a long time ago. Does Nickelodeon still have like Nick at Night? Is that still a thing?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
They should really elevate their Nick at Night to basically be their Adult Swim.
I know, yes, I agree. I feel like if you were to put this on TV, it would get a wide amount of exposure. Like you would get so many views from this. I feel like this doesn't just need to be a straight to DVD film. It needs more exposure than that. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I think we've said all we can about this movie. It was just I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think this has to be a masterpiece of modern DC animation. It doesn't, just like the comic, it should not be this good. It should not work, but it does on all levels. If you're a Batman fan like us, you're gonna love it. If you're a Turtles fan like us, you're freaking gonna love it. This appeals to everybody, and it has to be one of the best things to come out of 2019. There is nothing more I think I can say about it other than it's fucking fantastic.
If you could throw in Batman crossing over with another property, and I mean any property, no strings attached, anything, even stuff that like nobody gives a shit about anymore.
Yes.
What would you want to see Batman like cross over with?
Well, that's the thing. I've always wanted to see Batman Brave and the Bold crossover with Scooby-Doo. I got that. I always wanted to see Batman crossover with the Ninja Turtles. I got that. So I think the most reasonable thing we could see Batman crossover with would have to be Hellboy. I would love to see Batman and Hellboy crossover because I think that would be a very artistic, interesting film.
I would need Ron Perlman to come back as the voice of Hellboy.
Oh
That's
yes, absolutely. But if we're talking something ridiculous that nobody cares about, and I mean nobody cares about, then I would like to see the Batman team up with the Shadow, one of the many pulp comic heroes that he was inspired by. I
Dynamite
feel like,
Comics has a beautiful team called Masks,
yeah,
and it's the Shadow, the Green Hornet, and Kato,
oh, that
the
would be good too.
Spider, and they're all in a team together.
Yes, absolutely. Again, it doesn't matter. At this point, you could have Batman cross over with SpongeBob and it would somehow still be good.
And incidentally, it would still have Tom Kenny because Tom Kenny came back in this to play the Penguin again because he was the
Yes,
Penguin in the Batman.
yes, he was. So I'm happy about that. I really would like to see Batman cross over with more characters. I feel like last year was a test. They saw how good Batman and Scooby Doo did, and now they felt confident enough to go through with this. So at this point, I feel like they should just have Batman crossover with anything. And it could be anything. A Looney Tunes, Hanna-Barbera character.
Oh, dude, have you read those?
Yes, I have. They're fantastic.
You could make if I know they're bringing back the GC showcase option now, where they're going to do a bunch of new showcases, and they're gonna do one of Sergeant Rock. They're gonna do one of Death of the Endless, which is great because I'm a huge fan of the Sandman comic series. They're giving Batman a freaking showcase because, as we all know, apparently Batman is the most underrated and underused character that never gets exposure because for a wasted slot. And I can't remember. Oh, the Phantom Stranger is going to get one.
Yes, yes, he is. Adam Strange is going to get one too.
Yes!
Like,
Adam Strange is amazing. He's like Flash Gordon.
I know. Yes, I'm excited for that.
I think if there were two properties, I would love to see a crossover Batman flick for.
Sure.
I'd either want him teaming up with Zorro, and he has to go to Mexico, so he doesn't have too many of his accoutrements with him. So it's it's either modern day or it's 1940s, whichever.
Ooh, even better. Brave and the Bold crossing over with Zorro.
Oh yeah, and he has to go to Mexico, but he's got very limited resources, so it's he has to team up with the Batman of Mexico, and he's got to team up with Zorro.
Yes, that would be awesome. What's the second one that you have an idea for?
Space Ghost.
Yeah, dude. Yes. Yes.
I mean, any of the Hanna-Barbera properties are great. I would love it, by the way, if they just made that freaking Elmer Fudd one into a movie, because that Elmer Fudd comic, there was no logical reason. When you see when they first released the pitch, and it's Elmer Fudd, he's got his shotgun, he's got the big old deerstalker hunter hat, and he's hunting Batman. You're like, that's moronic. Elmer Fudd can't even handle Bugs Bunny.
I know, yes, and that worked.
And he's going against Batman. And there's a amazingly scary as hell scene where Batman's sneaking up behind him, and he just flips the shotgun over his shoulder and almost blows Batman's head off. And Batman's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I could have died just now. And it's yeah. Be Elmer Fudd's a hunter.
Yeah, he is, dude. Yes, all of those that you suggested. Yes, please, DC, just do it. You will not regret it. You will
just treat your Hanna-Barbera properties with some degree of respect, for God's sakes. They love Scooby-Doo, but not enough apparently, because they made the 13 Ghosts, so they didn't love it that much because they completely took a dump on all of the stuff that's set up with that franchise anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand, man. I completely do.
Hell, you know what? Do Batman in the time period of the Flintstones. I don't mean don't do that the Batman Ninja one where I guess they added time travel for whatever reason.
Yes, no, please don't. I don't want another Batman Ninja.
Just have it be Fred Flintstone has to go cut a deal on behalf of what was it? It was Slate. That was right. Slate was the name of the company he worked for.
Yeah. Yes.
On behalf of Slate Industries, he has to go over to Gothrock, and he has to go make a deal with the Waynestone Foundation, and he's he's got to finagle his way through that. And Fred Flintstone's down in a caper, and he's teaming up with Batman.
Please, guys, Make this fucking happen.
He rides on a giant pterodactyl bat that that's the Batwing. That's what the Batwing is. And then instead of the Batmobile, it's like a Smilodon in a bat costume.
Please, guys, make this happen. Oh my god.
It prints money. I'm giving you free shit. I'm not even gonna ask for a finder's fee. Maybe $5.
Yes.
Maybe $5.
Yeah, no.
And a credit. And a credit.
Yeah.
That says I did this.
And a premiere to the film. And a free, advanced copy to review, of course.
Yeah. That's the thing is people have always said Batman could fit into anything. And the thing is, I mean, all the DC characters can, but Batman's the character you could fit into anything and people will guarantee buy it.
Yes, absolutely.
Guys, one thing I respect about this over the Ninja one is the Ninja one had to go convoluted. It had to be Batman was sent back in time to feudal Japan. No, it's just feudal Japan and Batman exists. The end. You treat it like an Elseworld story, and that's it. You don't make it convoluted by adding time travel.
Yes, absolutely.
I love in this one where it's in the comic, well, we're from another dimension. In this one, we're from New York. We're literally just a few states up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It might not even be a few states because people kind of figure Gotham is in New York anyways, or Jersey. So really, it's we're only maybe a couple cities over, actually, Bruce. And I think Charles even mentioned that where it's they even said what's the point of coming here? It's is it really that different from New York? And it's Gotham's pretty much Statue of Liberty over there, Statue of Justice over here.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, that's pretty much all we can say about this. Again, if you guys enjoyed this film, which if you didn't, you have no heart. I'm just going to say that right now. If you didn't enjoy this, you have no heart.
Well,
if you enjoyed...
I've seen the commenters.
Yeah.
Why do you have to ruin Batman? Why do you got to make him for kids? Man.
Well, yeah, exactly. They don't know what they're missing.
Don't read them funny books.
Exactly, yeah. So, guys, if you actually enjoyed this, then let us know, down below in the comments. And if you want to see Angelo and me do more stuff like this, definitely, let us know, because I think Angelo and I have a lot more to say on so many other things, and I actually would like to do that. So if you guys think it's a good idea, then definitely let us know down in the comments below, and we'll definitely do it.
Oh, most certainly. I would totally be down to clown. Are you kidding me? I try to watch as many animated films I can in a year because I feel like animation, especially drawn animation, is basically it's almost dead. I mean, I know it not,
is.
But
no, yeah, I'm the same way.
Because Disney kind of ruins everything, because Disney's sort of the trendsetter for everything. So the moment DreamWorks started slipping towards CGI and Disney was people don't like hand-drawn animation anymore. Well, let's do that. And they just basically just spit on tradition and went just to CGI. It's great. Now every studio thinks, well, we can't hand-draw animate something. Everything needs to be CGI. And it's not that CGI is a bad form of animation. It's that in the case of Disney, everything kind of just looks the samey. Dude, getting something like Captain Underpants or Spider-Verse, it feels like those are the diamonds in the rough of getting an animated film where it feels wow, this is very different.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. And I'm definitely looking forward to talking more about those. So yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and you want to stick around and like what you see, then hit that subscribe button. And also, too, if you guys enjoyed Angelo, then please go and subscribe to ToonGrin.com. They have a great YouTube channel. They make great videos. If you're looking for some work, editing-wise or thumbnail-wise, graphics-wise, then again, hit up ToonGrin at Twitter. They will hook you up with anything you need. So please, guys, go support them. They deserve it. And we're just going to go ahead and sign off right now. So thank you all so much for watching. And this is the Jedi Bender saying, Pierre. Thank you, Angelo, for joining us. Would you like to say goodbye to the audience?
Yeah, I thank you so much for having me. This was greatly appreciated. Because,
No problem.
Why Boy isn't he's not really into superheroes or Ninja Turtles, which to me is like, well, that's the movie. It's superheroes and Ninja Turtles. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's the point of existing. It's just superheroes and Ninja Turtles. And to be honest, Ninja Turtles are basically superheroes.
Yeah.
Like, more or less, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I really appreciate you for having me. Leave links in the description so people can find those, those juicy links to be able to head out to find like us over at ToonGrin. And the sign off we always say is, be sure to tune in to ToonGrin.
Hell yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and sign off. Good night, everybody.
Good night.